lot of good information, encouragement, and hope to see you again. Thanks for coming. My name is Abby Adeboye, and I'm going to be your moderator for this afternoon. I am from NIDO, Maryland chapter, Baltimore. First things first, we are going to sing our anthems. That is the Nigerian anthem first, and then the American with help from YouTube. Will we rise? Wonderful. Well, you got it good. I would have led with things wouldn't have sounded so nice. Could we all move forward? It's better for the video, and then it gives that fullness and the engagement that we're looking for. Thank you. One room. Come closer, closer.
All the way to the far right.
Come closer. Let's talk. This is family. There's issues that we need to deal with.
All the way to the front.
Wonderful. We're going to have an in-depth conversation this afternoon on immigration. Oftentimes when we look at immigration, we see a Hispanic face, and we somehow believe that everyone runs across the border from Mexico. But you and I know that's not the case. I can give you names of folks from my church that were deported this year alone. Families that we had to say goodbye to, and some that we didn't even get to say goodbye because of issues of illegal immigration or papers getting messed up, or in one case, someone being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we have issues and we're going to talk about them, and that's why we're here this afternoon. I have the pleasure of welcoming into our midst distinguished lawyers, attorneys that work in this area of immigration. But before I introduce them, I would like to introduce the regional director for the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization America for Region 2. And that is in the person of Mr. Franklin Ikechukwu. He's going to give you greetings on behalf of Region 2.
Thank you, Moderator Usadi. I appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of NIDO, we welcome each and every one of you. And I would also like to use this opportunity to thank the DC chapter executives with their compatriot and sister state, Maryland, for trying to host this. I'm extending my gracious congratulations to you all for coming, and also all the panelists. We thank you for coming. At this time, I would like to call the president of DC chapter to give you guys a little bit of brief welcome address. Thank you.
Welcome everybody. Mr. Regional Director, a friend from Congressional Black Caucus, DC executives, distinguished presenters, lawyers, attorneys, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome today to this forum. This is the first in the series. My name is Uzoma Nwachukwu, the DC chapter president. Before I continue, I just want to do some housekeeping. There's a kitchen there for everybody, some refreshments over there. There's a restroom to your right when you leave this place, so if you need a restroom, it's all the way down there. There's an opening also over there to get to the parking lot if you came from the front. The issue of immigration, I will just start with a little story. The idea, I'm very elated today that an idea which something that turned out to be an idea is actually a reality today. I met this guy some time ago. His name is he has Mr. Neil Frank. He's from Africa, somewhere in Africa. I want to keep that a little bit closed a little bit, so just say who he is. But his story is one that is very touching. Back in 18 years ago in this country, most of the policies and laws that we have right now are not up to date with them. He came in as a student and he wanted to work. He wanted to make some extra money. Money coming from home was a little bit tough. It wasn't really helping. So those days people use other people's identity to work. And he happened to fall into that group. Someday he was driving on the road with same name, driver's license, pulled over by the cops, and they found out it wasn't him. Case escalated to the federal courts. Immigrations were involved, and at the end of the day, they came in and said they don't have any case with him. The case was closed. Now, 18 years after, this same guy moved from a different city to another city, was pulled over by the cops again. And somehow, it's the whole thing brought about something that happened 18 years ago that was supposed to have ended. You know, they brought it up and locked him up in an immigration cell for some time. This is an issue that was supposed to have been dealt with. But if not because of his lawyers, the good lawyers he has, and knowledge of the process, probably in the boat in the plane back to Nigeria. Today I'm really, really elated that I see wonderful people here today. Please enjoy yourself. There are so many, the presenters today are well grounded in this area. They are going to give us exactly what we intend to hear and we need to know. Thank you so much and welcome to this event today. Thank you.
We have a representative from the Congressional Black Caucus in the person of Mr. Hassan Christian, who is a policy director. The Congressional Black Caucus is very much involved with the immigration debate and immigration reform debate, and he would like to know what we're thinking so he can take some feedback back to the Congressional Black Caucus. Please come up to give us a couple of remarks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hassan Christian. I'm the policy director for the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm here today really to listen. We have had a long tradition of members of the Congressional Black Caucus working on the issue of immigration. But we are concerned that there is a lack of input that is coming from the African diaspora. And so we are very much heavily invested right now in trying to hear your voice, trying to hear your story, trying to get your background on the immigration debate, because we need to be well educated as we pursue an immigration system that reflects all of our values. Now, this is something that's going to be moving fairly quickly, so I'm going to make sure as we go along I'll have other opportunities to talk about some of the things that we're looking at. But I will make sure that I make myself available to you and to whomever else wants to meet with me or have a phone call, or even if it's at the end of the forum here. We just really are very, very interested in being a force for the African diaspora. And it's something that we are noticing that is going to be very important as we do this larger effort. We do have, just really quickly here, we do have a African diaspora immigration reform task force set up. I'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. Please see me and the Congressional Black Caucus as an ally and a friend in this struggle, and I look forward to this discussion. Thank you very much for having me today. Thank you.
From the Nigerian Embassy, we have Mr. Akingolaso to just say hi. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. A couple of housekeeping rules. Please turn off your cell phones, vibrate, silence, bill. Each of our speakers is going to have 10 minutes to speak, and at the end of it, we want a very interactive session so that we'll have opportunities to ask direct questions. They would, given no questions, we would add an extra 5 minutes to their comments to give us to also respond to the discussions of the other panelists. At this time, I will call on our panelists. They will all take a seat up here. Following that, each person in the order called will give their presentation. We have from the Ezeku Law Firm, Attorney Ike M. Ezeku Sr. From the law offices of Onwezi Group LLC, G. Emeka Onwezi Esquire. We have Attorney Uchechi O. Uchegu of the Mercy Law Firm LLC. And last but not the least, from Lang and Fallacy LLP, we have O. Isaac Fallacy Esquire. The first person we will be hearing from is Attorney Ezekiel Senior, who is going to be talking to us about immigration policies and criminality.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ike Ezeku. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I do a little bit of immigration. My office is in the District of Columbia, Northeast. The President Uzoma just gave you a story about what happened 18 years ago and then follows you 18 years after. The topic here, in a nutshell, deals with what is the impact of crime on immigration. In other words, when a crime is committed by an immigrant, what is the immigration implication? First, what is a crime? A crime is an offense against the public. Once a crime is committed, its restitution deals with the state. In other words, when a crime is committed against a person, it is the onus is on the state to prosecute on that, not on the individual. However, a crime can also have both a crime does have criminal implication as well as civil implication. A state can prosecute you for a crime, and the individual can later down the road also bring an action, a civil cause of action, like battery. Now, simply put, a crime is the breaking of laws and rules. Of rules for which a governing authority can ultimately prescribe a conviction, a punishment. Crimes are classified into two. A crime could either be a felony or could either be a misdemeanor. Why is this important? It is very important for an immigrant because a felony conviction, more likely than not, will get you to Lagos within 24 hours. This is very, very important. Any issue or any conviction that goes beyond a year is in most states considered to be a felony. And it has huge, severe immigration implication. Unlike a misdemeanor is what the layperson calls petty crime, a small crime. So how do you know the difference? If the conviction or if it is jailable by a year and above, it is a felony. If it is jailable by either a fine or less than a year, it is a misdemeanor. These things are very, very important. If you look on the slide, murder, rape, burglary, kidnapping, arson, and robbery are examples of felony. The lists, this is not an exhaustive list, but any one of these automatically will trigger a detainer. A detainer is a process where if you are locked up, immigration is automatically notified. And once immigration is notified, they put what they call a detainer. A detainer means that once the state is done with a detainer means that once this, the holding authority is done with you, instead of setting you free, they will now, if you're in Maryland area, they will take you to Baltimore, and from Baltimore, either you are going to Chicago or Louisiana. It's free flight. You will not pay for it. From there, you are going to Lagos. You know. So the list here is just an example of what we consider to be a felony. Unlike misdemeanor, public intoxication, trespassing, speeding, prostitution, vandalism, use of fake ID. Though this might look like they are not serious matters, but when this becomes repetitive, it becomes an issue. Bear in mind that for your green card or even for your citizenship, there's what we call there's a moral clause. Even for asylum, which the other panelists will talk about, there's a moral clause. So when you keep engaging yourself in this petty, though they are petty, but repetition means that you have no regard for authority, then that moral, immigration will now invoke that moral clause. And then what else? They will deny whatever petition, be it for asylum, be it for removal or for citizenship. So, is it a felony or is it a misdemeanor? What the determining factor is it the aggravating factor? You robbed a bank, and then, you went to a Walmart and stole an electric equipment for $20. They might look at it like a misdemeanor, but the same Walmart, you stole like an iPad that is above $500. That's a different issue altogether. So, in as much as it's still the same Walmart, but the price now determines where or which category this is do fall in. Crimes are also categorized into offenses against the person, violent offenses, sexual offenses, and offenses against property. This categorization is very, very important for immigration purposes. Down the road, you'll see why they are very important. Now, 2011, 9/11, 2001, changed the landscape of immigration as we used to know it. Before, the INS, as they were known, they were not so keen on, picking people post-conviction. But being that the 19 terrorists were immigrants, now they've extended that blanket to, instead of being curative, they're now being more or less proactive. So, the INS with the Justice Department, that's the INS under Department of Homeland Security, are now going after people who have served and now free to be members of the society, and now deporting them. In Alaska, there's what they call Operation Deep Freeze. It's understandable, Deep Freeze will come from Alaska. But what it means in essence is that once you are convicted, you serve your time, INS, wherever you are, they will try to pick you up and report you. This aggravated felony, crimes of violence, and other crimes are what will trigger this INS search. What categories of immigrants can be deported for criminal conviction? Green card holders, those who are applying for citizenship, those who are in asylum proceeding. All this, once you are not a citizen, you are what we call a non-citizen. And any crime that does have a year or more subjects you to deportation. These are grounds for removal. These are crimes that can trigger deportability. Controlled substance offenses. Now, this is very important, especially for students. Let me take a joint of pot. It falls within this. Controlled substance no longer deals with weed alone. Now, we're now dealing with controlled substance that deals with prescription medication, especially pain medication. So if you're now taking your grandmother's Vicodin, Percocet, and then selling it at school, you fall within this controlled substance. crimes of moral turpitude. These are crimes of conscience. I will explain them in detail. Aggravated felonies, things that are more than a year. Firearm, well, our people usually, let me not say our people don't get involved in firearm possession. Espionage, please look at number 7. This is what my office is dealing with a whole lot. Domestic violence. There's a difference between Washington and Lagos. The fact that you're married and, I'll slap a little bit. You can do that in Lagos. You cannot do that here. If you are an immigrant, slapping a little bit, the following morning, all you'll be hearing is Oshodi Strait in Lagos. Okay? So please, this number 7 is very, very important. I deal with that a whole lot because I also do family relations. This will trigger a whole, avalanche of issues. Protective order, peace order. This number 7. And it looks innocuous as it is. But because you have a social security number, anything you do in this country, the social security number, that follows you. And the moment you go before an immigration, either judge or an examiner, there's this question, have you been convicted of a crime? This is a double-edged sword. If you lie, you have lied. That's also another issue on its own, because now you are moving into a different category. Please, number 7 is very, very, very important. It's not that the rest are not important, but I'm seeing a whole lot of number 7 within the immigrant community. Again, I cannot, overemphasize it. You can talk the talk, don't lay your hand on anybody. The average immigrant wants to know, do you know who I am? I don't know who you are, but if you now, extend that hand to show that person who you are, you come to my office, I'm going to charge you a lot, and when I'm done with you, I'll send you over to these 3 guys that they also charge you a lot. So talk it over. Talk it over. Run your mouth as much as possible, but please, don't lay your hand on anybody. The fact that you are the father does not mean you're going to spank that child. That is another issue altogether. A client of mine came. That is my son. I can do whatever I want to. I love him to death. The judge said, you love him to what? Death? Okay. Now, he's now being referred to another attorney to deal with this same issue because now he's, under immigration deportation proceeding for just spanking the son too hard. We do a whole lot of that. Sometimes I wish there are a whole lot of things I knew now. I would have had a talk with my father, but that's a different matter altogether. Okay, violating a protective order. It goes back to number 7, where either the wife, the husband, or significant other files, an order of protection. Usually, when an order of protection is filed, you are asked to go to the house and pick 1 or 2 things. That does not mean to go to the house and then bring a U-Haul. That would be a violation of the protective order. Another one I really want you to look at is number 11. When you are going to the motor vehicle to renew your license, they give you a whole lot of paper to either sign, fill, and usually at the back of that is voters registration paper. If you are not a citizen and then sign that form, if you are not a citizen and mistakenly sign that form, you will be in a whole world of hurt. Example, we have a client from Chicago. He's been here for 22 years. Filling out his irregular, he doesn't want to be a citizen. For one reason, he said he doesn't want to be a citizen. You don't want to be a citizen until they will try to report you. Then it's him to sing the national anthem, American national anthem. He signed that form, the voters registration, but not being a citizen. Guess what? When now he got married and then wanted to be a citizen, they looked and then asked him, what do you have, what don't you have? They found out that under the motor vehicle, when they ran a check on him, they found out he had signed the voter. He never voted, he didn't vote, but he signed that form. Now, after 22 years in this country, they're now talking about the petition proceeding. This is somebody who has not gone home in almost 18 years. Now he's in deportation proceedings. His only consolation is that now Lagos has GPS, so he can, move around. But that's as serious as it gets. So when you look at, falsification of documents, this is also very, very important. Another falsification of documents that people deal with is when you do motor vehicle. Somebody buys, I sold my car to Uzoma, and Uzoma said, hey, because I'm going to pay motor vehicle S amount, can you bring it down to 200 so that he will not pay the tax? That is falsification. I can be deported if I'm a non-citizen. This one can be deported if he's not a non-citizen. So when we're looking at, crimes that can, take you back to Lagos, with free, flight, it is not a whole lot. It is not your murder, it is not your burglary. It is those little crimes you take for granted. Students, sexting, is another big one for, especially within the 18 and 24 years, you begin to test body parts. And it comes with a whole lot. If a minor is involved, they look at it as child pornography. You are going home. On the slide are conducts that can lead to deportation without even a conviction. Under this, marriage fraud seems to be the one that is more prevalent amongst the immigrant community. You marry your cousin from Texas or Houston, and you help her get a green card, she divorces you, marry another cousin from this. Once this pattern is discovered, they can now go back and do a retrace, and everybody's gone. This, I see a whole lot of this in, within the legal community. Money laundering. Please, if somebody wants to wire money into your account, the first question you have to ask yourself is, why me? Somebody in Nigeria wires $250,000 into your account, and your balance has been $75 for 5 years. That's a whole lot of issue. There's INS implication, there's IRS implication. And this, either it is the arrow or the end. These are two people you don't want to come in their cross paths. When somebody wires that kind of money into you, if it is a product of criminal enterprise, you are part of that chain. So when you move from $75 to $250,000, then, that's a problem. Aggravated felony, I believe I've talked about that. I'm running out of time, but impact of crimes on non-citizen. The first is automatic removal. The second is you're banned for life. In some instances, aggravated felony, if you are removed based on aggravated felony, you cannot come back to the United States. If you are removed based on crimes of moral turpitude, there are some mitigating circumstances. If you are here for 5 years, if you have relative, those could be mitigating circumstances. And what are the remedies for deportation? It all depends on what the crime in question is. What is the moral of this story? The moral of the story is when you walk into an attorney's office, if you're a non-citizen, the first thing you need to tell him is, I'm a green card holder, or my green card is in process, I'm seeking asylum. The reason being that if you walk into my office and then I'll go to the DOJ or the State Department or the prosecutor's office, I might get what looks like a sweet deal to you. I might get a plea for you where you will not serve. But because you have taken a plea, immigration will not come in. So please, when you walk into an attorney's office, the first thing you need to do is let the attorney know your immigration status. That way, it helps or informs or apprises them of what next to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now set up for Attorney Emeka.
How you guys doing? My name is Emeka Onweze. I've been a lawyer in DC, Maryland for about 10 years. I do general practice, mostly bankruptcy, immigration, and the criminal law. Before she sets me up, almost there. Well, I was asked to come and present in this forum. I remember someone came to my office and asked me to do this, and of course I said yes. And the next day he called me and told me that it's going to be 30 minutes. Now, I'm just saying it's going to be 20 minutes. 10 minutes? Well, good luck on that one. I will try my best to keep it short. Asylum, I was supposed to discuss about asylum. Again, it's going to be tough for me to discuss this issue in 20 minutes or 10 minutes, even 30 minutes. But I will try my best. There's no way I can talk about asylum without talking about refugee status. First, the reason I have to talk about both of them is that the requirements are almost the same. The only difference between asylum and refugee status is just the location of the applicant. The person that applies for asylum normally has to be in the United States, physically in the United States. And whoever that applies for refugee status has to be outside the country. That's the only difference. So anything I say now, going forward, whether I mention asylum or refugee status, they all apply. And as I said before, the difference is not that much. An asylum name applies while physically in the United States or at the port of entry. While refugees, a person has to be outside the country. Now, who applies for asylum or refugee status? For you to apply for asylum, there's a requirement you have to meet. Mostly, you have to be persecuted, or you have to have a well-founded fear of being persecuted in your native country. The key word here is native country. So, let me say, if you are from Cameroon or Nigeria or Sierra Leone, and you go to another country and live there, and for some reason you decide to apply for refugee, and you meet all the requirements from that country. Since that country is not your native country, most likely will be denied. Again, another requirement for asylum is, well, first, before you apply for asylum, it's mostly people that don't have any other immigration categories available for them. Well, it's not about if you have applied for green card or something, how long it takes. And if your life is in danger, you don't want to wait for 4 years or 5 years or 10 years for the immigration, for your papers to go through. So you most likely might have to apply for asylum or refugee status. But the problem with asylum is that the percentage of applicants that they grant asylum is very, 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 very low compared to the immigration status. So that means because you apply for it doesn't mean you'll be granted. Right? So well, the law that allows asylum was Refugee Act of 1980. Before that, U.S. has a policy where you can apply for relief in the United States if your life is in danger in your native country. But if I go forward, there's the 5 things, the 5 grounds that you have to meet for you to qualify for asylum. One of them is that you are being persecuted based on your race, based on your religion, based on nationality, based on membership in a political organization, and based on the political opinion. So if you don't meet those 5 things, most likely they will be denied. I've seen so many cases. People apply for asylum without going to the lawyer, and the guy applied asylum because he was claiming that they want to kill him with witchcraft. That's active case going on in our peer right now. The point is that witchcraft is not part of those 3 things there. So, and if you're surprised, they do this. They apply for asylum without lawyer because it happens. Let me say they're at the airport, and they call them at the airport coming in illegally. So they just the guy will ask them if they apply for asylum. Say yeah. So they fill out the forms, and he stuck with that whatever you have in your form. And of course, when they go to immigration, and they'll be denied. They'll come to the lawyers, and they'll try to reverse what they did. But then it's really tough to do that. Anyway, so I will use that example. This person applied for asylum because he said he's a Christian, and his neighbors, they are witchcraft people. And he has a land, and they want his land to use to practice their witchcraft. So they want to kill him, so he ran away and came to the United States and applied for asylum. Now, there's so many issues on that. I'll talk about the actors. Who is this person that persecutes these aliens? I'll discuss about that later if the time allows me. Well, again, when he came to me, when he went to immigration, they denied immigration, then have to appeal the case. He came to me and he told me about that, told me the whole story. And I'm like, are you serious? I have to go and appeal this in front of appeal. But I still have to do my job, right? So I have to try to help him. So at least he's still in the United States. It's almost a year now. So that means it's working somehow. But the point is that, again, it has to be those five grounds. It has to be based on your religion, it has to be based on your race, it has to be based on your membership in a particular social organization, and also it has to be political opinion. Again, before 1980, they have what they call deportation relief provisions under Section I and Section 243H. This is what you use if you meet the same requirement, and the United States may allow you to stay in the country, but they will not give you asylum status or refugee status. But at least they will allow you to stay in the country if you prove your requirements. Again, I'll go over the requirements later. It's really tough to prove. Even if you prove it, they still can't deny it because asylum is not a right. It's a discretionary thing. They can deny it based on other grounds. Like as the council said before, if you have a criminal record, they can deny it. Even if you don't have any criminal record, they can deny it. So it's not your right to have an asylum. But however, if you apply for deportation relief and meet the requirement, they cannot deport you. So that's why, in practice, if your client comes to you, you apply for both asylum and deportation relief. In case if they lose the asylum, they can stay in the United States. But still, they will not give them the status, but at least you'll be in the country. Again, the language I have here is from deportation relief. The same language as asylum. So, in practice, you have to apply for both if you want to stay, because most likely, like with my clients, most likely they're gonna deny it. It's almost 6 months to appeal that to immigration appeal. So, but at least if they deny it, he will be able to stay in the country until further notice. Now, that's one thing. When a client comes to me or to any lawyer, or even before you try to apply for asylum, you have to really be careful if you are not in the system already. When I say if you're not facing a deportation proceeding, let me say you are here as a F1 visa student and you overstayed, and trust me, you might be in the system, but they don't know you are here. Okay, but when you apply for something, that's when you expose yourself. So if you want to apply for asylum, you have to think really deep before you do that. Because if they deny the application, then they will start the deportation procedure. So when someone comes to my office, I'm like, you sure you want to do this? You sure you want to expose yourself? But then again, that is your only last chance. You know, that's the only option you have. You know, in the United States, you can't work, you can't go to school. So at least you have to try. But again, that's something you have to think twice before you try to do. Yes, it's a great deal at stake when an alien wants to apply for asylum, but they have to be exposed to immigration service. Again, the affirmative filing of asylum when the alien has not been previously exposed to INS must be done with just selective care, and probably in a very limited situation. So a small percentage of protocol asylum applicants are actually granted. As I said, you have to really be careful if you want to go through this route. But again, that's the only option you have. I guess you have to try it and see what happens. The second point there says that the alien in the deportation process, we apply for both asylum and withholding of deportation at the same time. As I said, if they deny it, and you also apply for withholding, at least you probably will stay in the country. Except, of course, if you have a criminal record, then that's another issue. Okay, this is the definition of what you have to meet. Again, it has to be a well-founded fear of persecution. So you cannot just apply for asylum and say that my life is in danger. It has to be, people who have the media, have the news, so trust me, we know what's going on in your country. So you can't just come and say that they want to kill me because I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, or because I practice, I believe in tree, whatever you believe. So it has to be a well-founded fear. Also, just because your religion is different from another religion doesn't mean that you're qualified. You have to show that your freedom is at threat, or your life is at threat to qualify for asylum. Because asylum is a discretion of the Board of Immigration Appeal has taken the questionable position that asylum could be denied per se. And as I said, even if you meet a requirement, they can still deny your asylum, even without no reason, again. Even if a well-founded fear of persecution has been shown, if the applicant is not entering into US with a false passport. Same thing if you meet a requirement and then you have other stuff like false passport, false passport, you have a criminal record, you change your ID before you come in here, they might deny it. However, BIA is changing that harsh term. They say that recently they try to consider why you change your ID, why you escaped, why you dress like a woman when you left your native country. Because sometimes, it's true, sometimes if you're running away from your government because they want to kill you or something, you might have to change, you might have to dress like a woman or like a man to escape. So they look at all that. I got 2 minutes. I'm not going to start. They look at